I'm going to go ahead and sing one of my favorite opera songs. Don't come for Ashley, or he'll come for that ass. From your own queen, and let that be yours, but don't come for Ashley, or he'll come for that ass.
Amazing. This is a lot.
But you did talk about it. You touched on it for a moment about some of the things of your past. Now, this is not a tabloid show. The Javon Show doesn't do that. But my question to you is, after going through the things that you went through, whatever the it was, how do you pull yourself out of whatever that was to the place where you are now?
So a bold person, when they wake up in the morning, they're going to wake up and face whatever the day has to offer or whatever the day is going to bring them. There were days where I had some hard days. I just didn't want to do it. When I'm getting up every day and I'm facing the day or facing a new challenge or facing something at work or facing something personal, that I'm facing those challenges with somebody that's bigger than me, and that's God.
He's a writing legend. He was what to watch for in gospel in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. He was what's to watch for in gospel music in 2021 and in 2022. And he is the Darnell Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Darnell Davis. Let's get into the Larry Reid of it all. Why did you leave Excelsior?
I left Excelsior just because it was just time for me to go.
Okay.
And I was cool with just kind of being in the background, playing the organ, doing the production. I would maybe be on the record, doing some stuff, But for the most part, I was cool with that. But I felt like it was just time to step out and move from the back to the front, And I just started Remnant, and we started doing stuff. And
can you let us in on just a little insight of what we can expect at this Excelsior reunion?
We're going back, and we're going to redo a song. We're going to redo an old song from the Soul Interpretation record. We're going to redo "It's My Time."
It's my time to eat a breast, because that's what I sing when I'm hungry.
Doing this live recording, I said it would be dope if we did a Excelsior reunion with the song, with this, and have Excelsior come back. Because
do I start off like, or do I just start a conversation?
Just start the conversation off however way you want to.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm looking forward to it. So we are going.
You got this.
3, 2, silent 1.
Welcome to Off Center Podcast. Oh my God.
What did we talk about?
I don't know.
Clapping with those hands. You will not be clapping all the way through my show today.
Now I gotta see. It's my show. You're just the guest.
That's what I'm talking about. But I'm still your producer. Stop clapping. Thank you. In 3, 2, because y'all, she will clap the whole show. No lie. She will clap the whole show.
It's her personality.
Thank you.
We're not doing that.
I be in the meeting with my boss, like, cause let me tell you. Okay, I'm ready.
Hey, season 3. We are out here and we are killing it. We're looking forward to it. And yeah, I'll see you at the Stellas. And you better have somebody having your back too, because I'm not playing with you. I'm gonna hug you.
Oh, wait a minute. Come on. I will be at the Stellas, so you see him, you're gonna see me.
I'm gonna hug you both. How about that?
Well, we'll hug you back. With the love of the Lord.
And check this out. And I'm going to pray for y'all leading up to the Stellas, because that's how I roll.
We're going to pray for you too, brother.
How about I'm going to continue to wish multiple success upon you and your life? What about that, my brother?
But how about we gonna wish more and more and more and more success, and God is getting ready to do something in your life? How about that?
First of all, don't come around me wishing me blessings and success when I'm trying to be here wishing you blessings and success.
We gotta push each other to success. How about that?
Play with me.
Woo! Woo!
Let's get a little bit crazy.
This beat is righteous, bro.
I wanna know you. Tryna rip you and soul you. Never let go, wanna hold you. I'm tryna show you that I wanna know you. I wanna know you.
The one, the only, Priscilla CC Winans hyphen Love, First Lady. I know you from the Crowd family. BB and CC the
oh no. Oh no. Yeah.
And with CC You So Fine, will you be doing more TV appearances to promote the album? Will you be on some of the new updated shows, Saturday Night Live, promoting this album?
Y'all are crazy. Y'all.
I'm saved. I'm saved.
You say Melissa is
Yes,
Devon.
ma'am.
He's the one? Oh God. Well, you know what? We'll see what happens, where we're going with this record. I'm very excited about it. I'm excited for Believe for it. I think it's a message that we all need to hear. We all need to, we've been through a lot. A lot of people are broken. A lot of people are discouraged. Mm-hmm. And this song and this record, I believe, will bring revival. I think it's going to encourage people to look up and to understand that it's faith that moves God. And if we can just believe his promises are true, then they're going to come true in your life, you know? And so I'm excited about just worshiping. There's power in worship. There's hope. There's the Bible says the garment of praise will lift the spirit of heaviness. And a lot of people are heavy right now.
Who keeps you laughing with all the jokes? It's JV. Who keeps it real around all your folks? It's JV. You've been looking and what do you know? Congrats, you tapped into the Javon Show. Who keeps you laughing with all the jokes? It's JV. Who keeps it real around all your folks? It's JV. Another outlook will give you some hope. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Javon Show.
Do. Let me tell you something. This is something when you have a show that you've been doing for 3 years and still don't know how to unmute your own mic. It's brilliance. It's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That's the level of fun that I have on this show, to where I'm having such a great time talking to myself, to where only I can hear me. So let's just try that whole thing over again. Everybody, welcome to the Javon Show. Welcome to the Javon Show. I'm your host, Javon, now with a microphone on, one that works. Ridiculous. 3 years I've been doing this show and I still don't know how to turn on my microphone. But that's okay. We've been having a great time these 3 years, just celebrating and having a good time. We celebrated our first interview ever, Kendall Miles. That was the very first interview way back April 3 years ago, right in the midst of COVID. And we've just been having a great time ever since. So to all of you all that have been watching us on all the platforms, we are on Roku, on Vanta Black TV. We're on YouTube, of course, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook. I think we're already saying YouTube. I think we're still on MySpace. We still have a MySpace account. So we are everywhere where you can watch and enjoy Amazon, Spotify, everywhere. We are in every platform, and I'm pretty sure that we are on every platform the wrong way. Doing everything the wrong way. So when you're doing everything the wrong way, you got to figure out what's the right way. And I know somebody. I know somebody that knows how to do it the right way. It's like they have a website and an IG. Their website is www.saglawpc.com, and they have a personal Instagram page, which is at lawyer T. Smith. They have an IG for the firm, which is at SAG Law PC. You know, I mean, I could talk about everything that this man has, but why don't I bring the man in? He is, and check out the name. It's the name for me. Dr. T. E. Smith, Esquire, Lawyer T.
What's up, man? How are you?
Lawyer T, it is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to have you on the Javon Show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me on today. It is such a pleasure.
You are amazing, sir.
And by the way, you can hear me, right? I'm not muted, correct?
Listen, it's the most amazing thing that I will produce everybody else's podcast and have them rolling. But when I'm doing my own, the one thing that I always forget to do is turn on a microphone.
I get it. I get it totally.
It's ridiculous. I'm so glad to have you here because I do this thing called Launch Your Voice. It's the Launch Your Voice initiative. It's about helping people start their podcast and about getting their podcast started the right way. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Marquise Jokes, and he said, listen, people need to know the right way to do the things that they're doing. And that includes me as well. Mm-hmm. And he said, you need to have Lawyer T on your show to help people do things the right way. And I said, that's cool and all, but I've been watching Lawyer T. And there's some things that people ain't asked Lawyer T that I got to ask Lawyer T. Wow. So we're going to start right away with the first question that I ask everybody on the Javon Show. Who is Lawyer T?
Well, man, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. And it's truly an honor and a privilege. Dive right in. Who is Lawyer T? So I'm T. Smith. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing since 2017. I started my practice in New York and New Jersey area where I worked for a civil trial and litigation law firm. And from there, I worked my way up to become the deputy director of operations for that firm and deputy chief litigation counsel. And after that, I moved to Chicago after meeting my lovely wife and started our practice, Smith Attorneys Group at Law PC. And that's where the beginning of SAG Law, as we affectionately call it, started. Me personally, you know, I tell people all the time, I'm a country boy from the west side of Michigan, from a small town of Muskegon Heights. Most people have never heard of my town, but we're just about 45 minutes west of Grand Rapids, right on Lake Michigan. And that's it, man. I grew up there, learned a lot of the ropes of life and prepared from family members and my community members. And they sent me out to the world, to college in Alabama State University, and then back to Michigan to law school at Western Michigan University, and then out to the East Coast to start my career. So in a nutshell, that's who Lawyer T is.
And it's such great things that you do helping people with the law. Why get into law? Like, there's so many things. You could have been a doctor. You're intelligent enough. You could have been so many things. You could have been a judge by now, I'm sure. Why are you still a lawyer? Why law?
You know, that's a great question. And it kind of goes back to that beginning phase of who I am. So I have a cousin who is a sitting judge in my hometown. And when I was a small boy, whenever I would see him, he would give me $1 and say, okay, I'm going to give you this $1, but this is tuition for law school. And sometimes we don't understand why we do certain things to individuals in their lives at points in time where we interact with them. But that was the seed that was sown in my life that really put me on the path to pursue the law and want to pursue justice and understanding what it means to advocate for others. And that's really it. That's how I got into law. It was from that small gesture of giving a young boy $1 every time he saw me and say, hey, I'm giving you this $1, but this is for your law school tuition. And that's how I got here.
What are the things that you love while practicing? So you're in practice now. What is it about practicing law that you actually love about it? Or are there things that you still love after practicing law for all these years?
Yeah, man, it's a lot about the practice of law that I love. Primarily is we get to, let me back up. So one, not only me, but every one of my attorneys in the firm, we have personalized experience in the areas of law that we practice.
Mm-hmm.
For example, part of the practice that I deal with is entertainment. I used to work in the entertainment industry. I have an undergrad in music business entertainment law. So I had that personal experience working in entertainment with creatives, songwriters, producers, artists. So that's one piece of it. I'm also a business and corporate attorney. I personally have owned and currently own a number of businesses. So what gets me excited about the law and the majority of our attorneys are we have that true hands-on experience that we've lived. It's one thing to be a lawyer, and just like any individual who goes to school for an extensive amount of time for a particular practice, it's one thing to have studied it. It's another thing to have lived it. And that's the difference with me and our firm is we've lived the areas of law that we practice. I don't do criminal law. I've never been a criminal, thankfully, right? I've never had that kind of interaction with the criminal justice system. So that's not an area of law that I practice. But we have attorneys who also weren't criminals, but have been prosecutors. And so that gives them a well-rounded view of the law, and in the sense that of some of the misadvantages or disadvantages that the justice system has and how it applies, and sometimes when it can affect certain demographic groups. That's the type of compassion that you would want your attorney to have in that space. And that's same on the business side. Some of the pitfalls and common errors that entrepreneurs make, you want your business lawyer to be able to say, hey, listen, I'm not telling you don't do that just because it's not the best move from a legal perspective. I'm telling you not to do that because I went down that road before being an attorney, and that's a painful fall. Does that answer the question?
It does. It does. I have a question, though, because you are a great dynamic speaker. So I can only imagine you in the courtroom. Why aren't you in entertainment? Why are you still in that entertainment law phase of things instead of in that content creator phase of things? Or are you doing both?
Well, I like to say that I'm kind of doing both. One of the areas that me personally, where I want to go with the firm is secure more speaking engagements and have more opportunities to speak in front of individuals, to share not only the knowledge that I have, but the experience that I have having gained said knowledge. So that is an area that we want to explore more. And hopefully being here on your show is a great precursor to that.
Listen, on all the platforms we are, and with all the people that we're working with in podcasting, I'm sure there are at least 700 people, at least minimum, that could use your services. When it comes to entertainment, just in general, what is the one thing that keeps being that common reoccurrence to where you would be like, if I could get on a bullhorn in the middle of Park Avenue and yell this, you're in Chicago, in the middle of Michigan Avenue.
There we go.
And just yell it to the top of your lungs in a bullhorn. What is the one thing that you would give the advice to people like me and other content creators to either do or to stop doing? What is that thing?
That is a very easy answer. And that answer is one, read your contracts. That's number one. Two, know when to incorporate the services of a true professional. So lawyers typically go to law school because we don't love math. Therefore, I have to hire accountants or financial advisors. I know that I don't like the thickets of math. I'm not going to try to struggle through it. I'm not going to try to what is it? Do it yourself, DIY it.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire that learned professional who does this every day, who knows how to do, who's experienced with this, who's vetted. And I'm going to bring that person on board. I think oftentimes entertainers in particularly, especially the successful entertainers on a grand scale, they kind of get the false narrative that they're too large to fail. And we've seen countless and countless of times throughout history, entertainers who were here in popularity and let's say the top of their craft, but financially end up here. And that mistake is usually for one or two reasons: not reading their contract. And if you can't read it and understand it the way that you need to, hiring the proper professional who's there to protect your best interest dealing with such areas.
But I can almost see it to where people be like, you know what? I've got this wonderful deal. I'm about to do a deal. I've been waiting all my life for a deal. So I'm sure that this is just the regular old basic standard contract that I'm supposed to be filling out. So I'm going to go ahead and sign it because it's standard. They're not going to let me do this if I don't sign this standard deal. What do you say to that?
I'd say that you're playing exactly into that company's expectation. That's what they want you to do, right? And they want you to do that because they get to make more money and take advantage of a situation when you're unprepared and you actually don't know what to look for. Truth is, the standard agreement in entertainment, let's just use music for an example. The standard 360 deal is a horrible deal.
wait, you've gone too far already. For those who don't know, what is a 360 deal?
So in short, a 360 deal, if you think of a circle, you think of that as a pie. The 360 says whoever is signing you, that entity, whether that's a record label, publishing company, entertainment company, whatever, they're going to take a percentage of each place in that pie. So let's say if the pie is 100%, the 360 deal may say maybe about 50 or 60% of that is going to come to the entity that's actually signing you, and the remainder to you. Now, here's the other piece you have to remember about that.
Wow.
If the business or the company that's signing you takes 50%, your personal manager typically is going to take anywhere between 15 and 20% of your remaining. And then your business manager, whether that's your booking agent or your actual CPA, they're going to take another 5 to 15%. Your attorney is going to take a percentage of that as well, anywhere from 5 to 20%. And that leaves you maybe somewhere around 10 to 15 left. So if you're going to have that ability to navigate that type of deal, you have to negotiate. You have to find what your negotiating powers are. And that's where an entertainment attorney and a good management team comes into play to help you evaluate, hey, here's what you bring to the table. Because if they're offering you a deal, there's something that they see there that's going to make them money. And you may not see it. And they're going to convince you, yeah, we're not going to change. This is what we do. This is our standard deal. That's always the answer until the proper professional gets in place. And then they can say, okay, here's what we've negotiated for you. And we think this is a better deal.
Are you able, am I as a client, and if you were my lawyer, and I was like, you know what, I want to go in there with our own contract. Is that something that can take place that businesses or corporations or entities are willing to do to allow the creator to come in and say, this is the contract that we want? Is that something that you've been able to do?
Well, before I answer that question, is first, like you said, if you were our client, we need to change that. That needs to become you are our client.
You got me there. When you write, you're right. Loyalty, when you write, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we fixed that piece of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can a creative bring a contract to the table? I always recommend that creatives have standard agreements and standard operating practices. SOPs is what the acronym for that is.
I'm down with SOP. Yeah, you know me. Keep going.
Right. There you go. Right.
I'm down with that.
So yes, we recommend that you get those kind of standard agreements in place. Now, reality. Is every company or every opportunity going to say we're going to use yours? No, that's not the case. But at least you have something that you can send to them in response to a perceived opportunity or opportunity to start to come to fruition. What else that gives you is if they send you an agreement and you send them an agreement, both of you guys are showing a certain level of professionalism. There's a certain level of excellence that you're portraying by having that ability. And then that allows both sides to know, okay, we're not dealing with the same entertainer as last time. We're not dealing with someone who's inexperienced in this space. We're dealing with someone who not only takes their craft seriously, but takes the business side of their craft serious. And that can give you a lot of negotiating power in itself.
That's powerful. Doc, you are dropping knowledge on us, and you're blowing my mind. So I'm glad that I officially have representation, that I don't have to really deep dive into this the way that I want to. Because some of us creatives just want to be creative, right? Now, there are those who are helping people launch their podcast. So they're starting out with 0 followers, 20 followers, 100 followers. And they're saying, I don't need a lawyer yet because I'm not there yet. So why would I get me a lawyer now when I don't have anything that needs to be lawed? I only have, 2 podcasts. I only have 7 people that watch it. Why do those people fresh into the game need your services?
I answer that question often with an analogy. Why would you need a vehicle that has a motor, has tires, can drive? Why would you need that vehicle to still have airbags and a seatbelt? Because you need to be safe.
Ooh.
Because yes, that vehicle can transport you from point A to point B, but every time we drive, we're internally accepting the risk that this could be the last time that I drive this car. Or somebody could hit me, or I could lose control and wreck the vehicle. So what we do in that instance, every time we get in that vehicle and make that decision, we do one simple step. We reach to our right or our left, depending on what side, and you buckle the seatbelt. What an attorney is, what professionals are that seatbelt buckle. Yes, in law, if you were to get into trouble or there was a situation where you have to sue somebody or you're being sued, oftentimes you can represent yourself. Now, that is not a wise decision when I'm on the other side or any other attorney is on the other side. As a matter of fact, we pray that you don't have a lawyer because we now know not only are we going to show off for our client, we're about to moonwalk all over this case. So that's the analogy that I like to give young entrepreneurs or newer entrepreneurs is I get it. Sometimes you're concerned, you're pinching pennies, you're concerned about costs, you're concerned about this, you're concerned about that. But you don't know just how much at risk that you're putting yourself without having certain professionals on board at the earlier stages. I often tell people this too. You can hire me now and pay me a little now, or you can hire me later and pay me a lot. Either way it goes, I get paid.
Yes, sir. And why not bring you in at the beginning to where you can help us avoid those pitfalls and those stumbles and protect the brand that you're trying to build, right? It only makes sense to bring you in now. And what's great is that people can bring you in now in the month of April because you have an amazing deal going on for people. Now, I'm going to let people know now. So people be like, Javon, this guy's on Javon's show and he's about to hawk something, so he must be getting paid. We don't get paid on the Javon show to bring people in. People that come in on the Javon show come in because we respect them. We appreciate them. We know that they're serious about what they do. And that's why they come on the Javon show. No one has ever paid to be on the Javon show. So we don't do stuff for payment. We do stuff because we're trying to help people. Lawyer T, you're helping people this month. Can you tell me about the special that you have going on to help people get help?
Yeah, so every April we launch this program, this special, where we're doing base LLCs for a severely discounted rate. LLC formation could take hours on out to build custom for the particular client. Well, what we're saying for the month of April is if you come to us and we build your LLC, we're doing it for a flat fee, $1,500 out the door.
Wow.
And that is, and we're not talking about what you can go on certain DIY sites, which I'm not knocking those sites, but
we should, but you're not. I will.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not. Yeah.
But I tell people, those are what we consider cookie cutter. And as we know, businesses are just as unique as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But you really do need a professional, an attorney, to sit down and help forecast what you're trying to accomplish and then build the entity to accomplish that goal. And that's what we're doing for the month of April, is we're reducing our rate because we want to see an increase in entrepreneurship. But not only do we want to see an increase in entrepreneurship, we want to see a sustainable, properly grounded and formatted entity so that when you do reach those areas of success, you have the foundation that's solid and you can sustain that scalability and that growth.
That's beautiful. And that information for people that want to establish their LLC is a guide for tax deductions, operating agreement, owner's consignment agreement, independent contractor agreement, and it's an amazing price. And it's for the month of April. So he's not paying us to share this information with you. It's information that we're sharing because, again, the Javon Show is about helping people. It's about sustaining your growth and helping you establish a foundation that's strong for your future. So if you really, truly are serious about making some damage in the world and having it be protected, please see Lawyer Smith. Before we let you go, there has been so much with AI generation. They can do stuff to where they have Kanye West singing Taylor Swift songs through AI now. Do you have any fear at all of the need for you and your services being diminished because of AI technology?
No, and the reason for that is we have governing rules in the area of the law. So, every attorney has to take what's called the bar exam, right, in order to practice law. Well, the bar isn't just a test. It's an organization that governs and protects the practice of law. With that, it has certain strengths that allows for attorneys to have securities in the practice of law. For example, we have technology now that allows doctors to perform certain surgeries and provide consultations or treatment plans miles away, but it still requires a doctor to be there. I'm excited to see what technology is going to evolve into, but the takeaway is there's certain things in life that will always need that human that human support behind somebody, or something has to pour information into this machine in order for it to accomplish the intended purpose. And that's where I believe lawyers will still have that area of longevity. To the extent that it doesn't, it's a good reason why I'm going ahead and taking the steps to build my content up now and explore my creative ability with you. So I may become a permanent and long-term public speaker. So.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to the success and just being part of that journey. And I'm looking forward to having everything that I do be protected the way it's supposed to be. That's Absolutely. What I'm excited about. Before we let you go, can you please share with us where we can get in touch with you, how we can find you going forward, and if people want your services, how do they get to you?
Yeah, the best way to reach us is through our website, www.saglawpc.com. So that's saglawpc.com. That's the most efficient way to reach us. Of course, we're on Instagram and Facebook at saglawpc. My personal Instagram is lawyert.smith, and that's lawyerte.smith. Reach out to us, DM us, send us a message on through our website consultation portals. We're happy to have a consultation with you and discuss what your services and needs are and how we can be of service to you.
Lawyer T, thank you for coming on the Javon Show today. We appreciate you. We look forward to our working relationship and you making me a lot of money.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Lawyer T. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Lawyer T. Make sure you all follow him today and go get the assistance that you know that you need. This has been a special edition of the Javon Show. We're going to be right back at 1:30 Central Time for another great interview. So until then, make sure you take care of yourselves and each other. I'm trying to let you know right now that I have this bright idea to where I'm going to quit my job and focus on content creation full time. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I figure out if this is what I want to do and this is the way that I want to do it. I honestly have all of the fear. And I know, they tell you about the God has not given the spirit of fear and all that good stuff. But I'm just going to be in my natural right now. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I want to do something. And I'm 43, if my gray hairs are telling my right age. And I'm trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. Can you help me?
I absolutely can help you out. I just turned 46. And so a few years ago, actually, I was in the same boat as you, in the sense of ready to do what you were called to do, ready to do your life's work, ready to really work out your passion full time. So I get it. I understand it. But one of the things that you have to take a look at is you have to first define your why. Right? You got to first define your why, because understanding your why is going to take you a long way on the journey. And we'll get into that a little bit more.
If the motive is because I think God has let me, or no, you're not supposed to say things. I know that part too. I've taken a lot of classes on this stuff, right? So you're not supposed to say I think, you're supposed to say I know. I know God is leading me to do something, and it's not getting in and out of a truck for 12 hours a day. So I believe that he's saying, I've given you all these gifts and talents, and it's time to use them for my glory. Okay, cool. That's cool, God. I'll roll with that. I'll track with that. That's for me the why. It's because I'm believing that God is telling me to do it.
Okay. So in other words, you had a God said, and so you stepped out on a God said. So the first thing you got to do is define your why. Your why is, this is what God said. I believe it. And so I'm going for it. I'm stepping out of the boat. Number 2 is you have to discover the cost. And what I mean by that is everything, good or bad, everything has a cost. Everything has a consequence or repercussion of something, right? And so we got to first sit down, and me and you are people of faith, and the Bible says we got to first sit down and count up the costs, financial costs, your time, your how are you going to maneuver? How are you going to survive? How are you going to live? Because we still live in this natural world where we need money, right? And so you got to count up the cost to say, am I willing to really stay in the fight, to go through what I may need to go through? And there are some costs that you won't be able to count because you don't know what those costs are up ahead. It's kind of go along with the saying where we often say, nobody told me about this part. I knew about this, right? But nobody talks about this part. It makes it look easy, but you didn't tell me I may have to sleep in my car. You didn't tell me, that I may have to, get in the unemployment line for a minute or whatever the case may be. You have to count up the cost. Third thing is devise a plan.
So wait,
So
you saying that I'm actually supposed to have a plan before I just go ahead and up and leave my job?
I am. I
Huh.
am. I am, because
Huh.
that's wisdom. That's wisdom. The whole book of Proverbs, right, is we call a book of wisdom. It's not just these wonderful, sayings, they're principles, right? And
All right.
so the ant, we can learn so much from an ant, because the ant plans, they do things before time, they store things up,
Mm-hmm.
right, before
All
the
right.
winter comes. So even with dealing with savings and just this idea of learning from an ant, right, we learn the principle of saving our money, not spending everything all at once. And so we have to begin to be wise in our decisions. As many individuals that I look up to, that I admire, that are in our world today on major platforms, we call them celebrities, and we hear these stories, right? Rightfully
Right.
so, and they are millionaires, billionaires. But for me, when I hear, you slept in your car, for 3 years, and I know things happen. I know things happen. So please hear my heart when I say this, but we cannot just jump ship because we're tired of our jobs. We cannot just jump ship because you like, well, I got this passion in me and God told me to do this. One of the things that I had a conversation with many people, but especially one of my mentors, I said, I believe that he told you to do this, but did he tell you when? And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't ask God when. When are we supposed to do it? When do we step out? When do we start building, right? And so God is probably looking at us and saying, yeah, I said that, but I didn't tell you to move now. There is always timing with God.
Planning.
There's always timing with God. And so we are such in a rush oftentimes because we're frustrated with our boss. We're frustrated with the company. Maybe they're not paying enough money, rightfully so, right? Back in the day, before we had this entrepreneurial era, because entrepreneurship is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing new, right? But we are in this space and in this era of entrepreneurship that everybody is doing it. So it's like, oh, I got a passion too. I want to do that full time too. But you have to wait things out. Back in the day, we would say, hey, before we leave this job, I'm going to make sure I have another one lined up. Why did we do that?
Mm.
Why
To make
did
sure
we
we
do
ate.
that? To make sure
Right.
we ate. And Lord forbid, if you have children, if you have a wife, and I'm single and I'm still thinking about these things. But for those who are married with kids or single with kids, there's more that you have to take into account than just jumping out the boat and calling it faith. Calling it what this is what God said, because anytime that God has said a thing, listen, he gonna make it good. The Lord maketh rich and he adds no sorrow with it. It doesn't mean you won't have trials. It doesn't mean you won't have tribulations or hardship. It doesn't mean that. You go in already knowing that because you understand the character of your Father. You understand the character of God. You've been here before. He brought you out before and he'll bring you out again. So thank God for grace and mercy, right? When we get out there, and it's like, okay, God, I'm out here now. I did this. You didn't tell me at this time. So do I stay out here or do I pick up a part-time job so that I can still be able to build? And I feel like that, Javon, is still a part of moving in wisdom when I didn't in fact count the cost and maybe I didn't have a plan to step outside my job. I'm gonna say one more example really quick.
Yeah,
I have a friend, and we don't talk often. She used to live here in Bloomington. We went to church together, but we talk on Facebook, right? And so she went to go get her doctorate, doing amazing things right now. But one of the things that she's an author, and one of the things that she said and testifies about is before she left her job to full-time pursue her doctorate, she saved up $20,000. She saved up $20,000. Why did she do that?
So she can support me in case I lose my job and need some place to go stay and get a loan. Can you give me this? I need this friend's name and email address. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. As you were saying.
But when I heard that, I don't hear a lot of stories like that. But when I heard it, I said, God, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Not all of us gotta sleep in the car. Not all of us have to have the story of I was homeless for 6 years, but now you see my glory. Going full-time entrepreneurship ain't for punks, right? No. Listen, I need a level. I mean, I'm used to stepping outside my comfort zone, but when I know that it's God, because why? I'm excited. It's easier to do. Not that it's easy, but it's easier because I know he said it and he's backing me up. No, I told you to go at this time, Sharp. Well, God, I mean, it's $10 in the bank. What do you mean? Right? But I'm secure because I know he said it and I know it was the timing. So what does that say? Because of those two things, you got to supply for me. You're obligated to take care of me. It's almost like the umbrella. If it's raining outside, we get an umbrella, right? When we don't have that umbrella, we get rained on. Imagine that umbrella being the covering of God because you understood it's your season of rain. You understood it's your time to step outside the boat and do what I called you to do. But the moment that I step outside of that umbrella or don't have it, I'm uncovered. So when I step outside of the purpose of God, outside of the will of God, he ain't obligated to cover me. He's not obligated, but he is so gracious and so merciful that when we cry out to him, just like the Israelites, he comes back into the picture. Or we come back into the picture and say, Lord, I did that. Can you cover me? Can you help me work this out? And I'm going to stay under the umbrella, under your will, under the word that you've spoken over my life. The last thing, so I said, first you got to define your why before we step outside this boat. Second thing, discover the cost. Third thing, devise a plan because let's be people of wisdom. And the last thing is decide to be patient.
Oh, patience is tough now. Now you're saying something. So what I said was that I'm just gonna go ahead and do it and everything is just gonna boom. Because God said it, that means it's like a magic trick. Boom.
I wish.
Then all of a sudden it just happens.
I wish. God, I wrote this in my book, Just Be It, shameless plug, a guide to finding your fit and living with bold intent. But my very first book I published, have more to come. But one of the things I talk about in that book is that God doesn't do microwaves. He loves crock pots and he loves ovens. Ain't that the truth? That's why you're laughing.
That's good.
He don't do microwaves. He'll let you slow cook, right? He'll do ovens. He'll do ovens. Now the Bible specifically talk about ovens and purifying things, but microwaves, you can hang it up. When it comes to God, nothing is quick like that. But when it's, let me preface this though, but when it's your season and when it's your time, all doors are open. And it comes so fast. It's one door after another, to the point where you like in Amos, I believe, chapter 9, verse 3, I believe, but it's in the book of Amos where it talks about God is going to be doing so much in your life, it's going to make your head swim. Message verse, it's going to make your head swim. Everywhere you turn, it's like, hey, Shar, I want you to come here. Hey, Javon, I need you next week to do this. Can you do it? Do you have time? Right? And so we have to have patience. Patience is a virtue.
That I desire, don't necessarily have.
Yeah, come on. And that's okay. And God loves, one of the things God loves is honesty. Lord, I don't have that. I'm working on that. Right? We can come to our daddy and tell him that. And so he begins to work on us because he wants us to be open. But I long suffered for so long. I mean, it was year after year after year. And in the beginning, you feel defeated. In the beginning, you like, Lord, do you truly love me? Do you have something for me? Everybody else is moving ahead, but I still feel like I'm back here, renting while everybody else is getting houses. I'm back here still single while everybody else is getting married. All of these things, right? But I understood, Shar, you have a divine purpose, and God has a set time for you. And so this is why I tell people, you only look to the left or the right to be inspired and to admire others, but not to compete with them. You want to compliment them and say, Javon, you're doing an amazing job, right? But I'm not in competition with you. We on the same team. We may be in different lanes. Javon's show, I'm out here speaking, whatever the case may be. But we're on the same team and we're striving for the same things or types of things. And so we have to decide in our mind, like, I got to be patient with the process, because I understand trouble is going to come. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when is it going to knock at your door, right? And so if I'm already decided, I often tell people, you got to decide before you have to decide.
Wow.
It's like being in a relationship, and the Lord said, hey, I need you to break up and let that be a forever breakup with that man or with that woman, right? And the enemy is always going to come try you. It's necessary that he does, because you got to see what's in you. Do I have patience in me? Do I have love in me for real, for real? Despite that, I know you just talked about me, or, you blasted my name, or whatever the case may be. The enemy is going to knock at our door. And so if I decide now, I'm not going to open it. If I got to get my accountability partners over to my house, that's what I'm going to do, because I got to stay in position. I got to stay in position. So likewise, in this entrepreneurial space, we got to stay in position. We got to stay prepared, because we never know when God says time, and now we rushing to get things together. Why? Because we wasn't in position and we wasn't prepared.
Tell him.
I'm talking to you. Your platform will expand. The step that you made on faith was a complete one, and there were people who actually advised you against it, and they made you feel totally crazy and asinine for stepping out on faith. But God said, because you stepped out on the water, Peter, Jesus said, I'm gonna meet you there. And those who are expecting you to sink, tell them they in for a rude awakening. I also see sponsors. Yeah, they're coming. I say go to sleep at night, because you go to sleep stressed, tossing and turning, like, oh my God, is it going to work? Did I make the right decision? Blah, 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 blah. God said, go to sleep. I got you. Now I'm done with that.
Get a little bit crazy. I was kind of in the background.
The hardest part of the podcast journey is starting. It is time to take that first step. Begin your journey today. I've been told by many individuals on my team that this is ridiculous, that I need to get this fully together, that I need to get this right. So what better place for a black man to go get a haircut than sports player? I guess I got myself together. And it's all thanks to the mighty, mighty God in that sports clip.
Being reminded that this song was created to encourage people. This song was created to be a faith soundtrack for someone. So who am I to say, because I'm tired of singing this song every time I go out. This is one of the things that draws me to these places. This may have been the song that helped people to discover who I am. So
Can you tell us, give us some insight, some exclusivity on the Javon Show about the new James Greer project?
Absolutely. The single that's out now currently is called I Want to Say Thank You, featuring the wonderful, amazing, talented, gifted, sweet, loving Marette Brown Clark. That song is a remake. It was a song recorded years ago, written by Ferris Evans Jr. out of Gary, Indiana, my hometown where I'm born and raised.
Shut up! I'm from Chicago, so when I heard the song, I said, wait a minute, this is... Hey, we sang this in Chicago.
Absolutely. So the Chicago influence was all my influence growing up, the Chicago choirs, and I grew up on that. I grew up as a choir director. I was a Gary, Indiana church boy, running around Chicago to all the church musicals and all the concerts. So that's my upbringing. That's my roots, as Gary, Indiana, Chicago. That's the sound that influenced me as a kid. Mm-hmm. And that song, I Want to Say Thank You, was always one of my favorite songs. And I always said that when I got a chance to record it, I was going to record that song. Then I called Marette. I was like, Marette, I really want you to be on this project. She's like, okay, well, let me hear the music. And when she came in the studio, and her being the ad-lib queen, when she put her spin, it was a no-brainer. I was like, this is the song right here. I knew it right then and there.
Debut episode of the Javon Show. I am Javon. And for my first guest, I have Mrs. Kendall Miles. How are you, Kendall?
Hello, I'm doing really good. Thank you.
It is so great to see you today, and thank you for being the first guest on my show.
Okay.
First question that everybody wants to know, who isn't familiar, who is Kendall Miles?
I love people, and I love God with everything in me. That's who I am in a nutshell.
I want to know more, though. So if I was to say, hey, Cameo. Welcome, Cameo. How you doing?
Hey, y'all. How you doing? Hey, Kenny.
Cameo.
Help our audience understand, who is Kendall Miles?
Kendall Miles is the funniest person that you will ever meet.
What is one of her 3 favorite movies? What would you say?
Coming to America.
Is she right? How many times have you seen Coming to America, Kendall?
I've seen Coming to America. I lost count. I love that movie.
We're going to see if Zenaida knows anything about Kendall. Hey, Z.
Hi, Zenaida.
How are you? Surprise.
Oh, my goodness.
If we were to do a Coming to America, which character would Kendall be?
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Absolutely.
We're going to do our top 5 news of the day. So, of course, the major story is the coronavirus. How, Kendall, are you dealing with the quarantine situation, or are you even quarantining yourself, or have you just been out in the streets just getting?
Well, I have to quarantine myself. I've been pretty sick, actually, but I am getting better. My kids were sick. If I go somewhere, or Tom runs errands for us, but we cannot leave the house. And I was in the house before all this started, so it's not a really big deal for me. I'm a homebody, actually. I would prefer being in my house. It takes a lot for me to be around a lot of people, so that's something people probably wouldn't think about me. So I enjoy our quarantine. We play games, we watch movies. I mean, we know how to give each other space as well, so that we're not on top of each other. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
So I'm going to ask you a personal question, and you can choose not to answer it, but I'm going to make you. Do you still love your husband after being quarantined with him for almost 2 weeks now?
You know, Tom and me know how to give each other space. We both do our own thing, so we've never been on top of each other, you know. And he still gives me butterflies when he walks in a room. I have the biggest crush on my husband, and I know that's like some people will be like, "Are you serious?" Yes, I do. He's so much fun. He's very quiet, but he has a sense of humor, and you would never know. He's really fun to be with.
This beat is righteous, bro.
I wanna know you, tryna reap you and sow you. Never let go, wanna hold you. I'm tryna show you that I wanna know you. I wanna know you, tryna reap you and sow you. Never let go, wanna hold you. I'm tryna show you, I wanna know you. I wanna know you, I'm tryna show you. I know that I owe you. It's just like I told you, never put nothing before you, cause that's what I don't do. And though I'm below you, I'ma plant you and grow you. Deep inside of my mind like an underside, keep me charged and charge my power line. You hate it, I faded, and know you the greatest, your greatest debated, and that's why you hate it. Undoubtedly doubted, no doubt about it. You rerouted, you clouded, we shout about it. I wanna be closer, like Costa Nostra. Wanna know you when I'm sad about it. Like, what do you like? What are you needing from me? Am I what you need me to be? What is the purpose? Is it worth all I heard that they keep on feeding to me? Am I on the right path with the right math that they keep on reading to me? What is your plan? Do you really understand? Can you hear me when I pray? I wanna know you. I wanna know. Tryna reap you and sow you. Yeah. Never let go, wanna hold you. Never let go. I'm tryna show you that I wanna know you. I wanna know you. I wanna know you. I wanna know. I wanna know. Tryna reap you and sow you. Reap and sow. Never let go, wanna hold you. Yeah. I'm tryna show you. I wanna know you.
Keep you in my mind, you know you my slime. You deliver me time after time. Give me a pen and show me the dotted lines. I sign to stay on the vine. I'm just tryna reap all your benefits. The way that you love me, we benefit. I'm tryna be part of your syndicate. Yeah, you know that my feelings are genuine. From my adrenaline rushing, signal robotussin'. You be bustin', flow no cussin'. If I don't know you, that means I don't know nothing. I know something, and that something is I wanna know you better. Know your letters. Know you like nobody ever knew. Like, what do you like? What do you need it from me? Am I what you need me to be? What is the purpose? Is it worth all the hurt that they keep on feeding to me? Am I on the right path with the right mask that they keep on reading to me? What is your plan? Do you really understand? Can you hear me when I'm praying?
I wanna know you.
Know you. Oh.
Tryna reap you and sow you.
Review and sow.
Never let go, wanna hold you.
I wanna hold you. Yeah.
I'm tryna show you that I wanna know you.
I wanna know.
I wanna know you. Tryna reap you and sow you. Never let go, wanna hold you. I'm tryna show you. I wanna know you. Who keeps you laughing with all the jokes? It's JV. Who keeps it real around all your folks? It's JV. You've been looking and what do you know? Congrats, you tapped into the Vaughn show. Who keeps you laughing with all the jokes? It's JV. Who keeps it real around all your folks? It's JV. Another outlook will give you some hope. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Vaughn show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Vaughn Show. I am your host, Vaughn Marin, and I am part of the newly formed Trump legal team. Welcome to the Vaughn Show. We have an amazing guest to bring before you today. We're going to have some fun. I'm told that the person that we're coming on cuts up even more than I do, so we're going to find out how that goes. If there can be two of us in the same space. So let me not dilly-dally any further. And yes, the black man did say dilly-dally. Let me welcome Mr. Ron Summers to the program. Mr. Summers.
What's up, Javon? What's up, Javon? What's up? What's up, my brother?
All I know is that I came for a long time not to have a good time.
Come on now. Come on, listen. We done been through too much to not have a good time, brother.
Somebody said, we've been through too much. Hey, God. To have some
Listen,
fun.
you're not going to do this to me today, okay? Let's just my brother, it is so good to see you. I feel like I've arrived because I'm on your show now, Javon.
Listen,
the
short answer is yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, I got you. I'll take it.
The humble answer is, listen, Doc, it is our privilege and honor to have you on the show. See, I know both answers.
Oh my God. Yes, sir. You know them both. Come on.
I know them both. Now listen, people gonna act funny because they be like, Javon acting silly. Why is he acting silly with Ron Summers all of a sudden when he's been serious for the last 3 years? Can you tell them who is Ron Summers?
Who is Ron Summers? Listen, I am a former Ty Scott recording artist. Born in Detroit, raised in Indianapolis, right down the street from you, my brother. Right down the street.
Around the corner.
Right now, I am currently residing in Baltimore, Maryland, where I am the minister of music at a wonderful church here in B. Moore, in the beautiful city, charmed city, Baltimore City.
Yeah.
But just coming back into the recording, man, coming back into the music industry and loving God, man, and loving what I do, That's a little bit about who Ron Summers is.
The rumor is that Ty Scott is really great at buying solo awards. Why would you leave such a great company that would be in a position to make sure that you got everything you needed and more? That's what somebody asked me to ask you because they was being messy.
Don't
and I just like
do
to
that.
go ahead and go
Don't
with
do
it.
that. Listen, let me tell you something. Ty Scott is a wonderful family, and those wonderful people, Brian and Sydney. Those are my peeps. So I have nothing but great things to say about Ty Scott Records. Well, it's actually Ty Scott Communications. Amen. Come on, let's get it. Let's be correct.
He said, "Let's get it together."
That's right. That's right. So, but we just glad to be back in the industry. And I will say this: if someone was to really ask, well, Ron, why did you leave? It was just life, man. Sometimes life takes you through different turns and different channels. But let me tell you something. It's all good, Javon. It is all good. I promise you, it is all good, my brother.
We happy to have you back, sir. During this time away, was it now? Listen, I know I'm being silly, and I get there sometimes because
no, you're good. You're good.
But you were a major big deal. The fact that you were on the record label in the first place, and then all of a sudden just gone. I understand that life happens, but why did you leave us hanging?
All right, so that's a good question. So I really would say that I was just kind of young and just really coming into who Ron Summers is. So I moved from Indianapolis. I moved to Houston, and there I began to really take root in Houston, where I served at another wonderful church. And began that in that space and time, Javon, I began to write for a lot of artists. I wrote for the St. Louis Experience of the Church of God in Christ. I wrote for a very good friend of mine. All of you know this guy, but he was really one of the main persons to really give me a chance to write and just really kind of stretch myself in that capacity. And that is our dear beloved brother Kevin Lemons. I wrote a song on his record that many of you know, and when I wrote for Kevin, I said, Kevin, this ain't gonna be your song, bro, because to me it was kind of praise and worshipy, and oh hallelujah, that kind of vibe. But Kevin took it, and the rest has been history. But I wrote a song called "All of the Lord" that many of you, I'm sure, have heard of.
And it goes, for those who don't know, it goes something like this. We need the oil. Oil of the Lord. That's that one. That one.
That's the one. That's
That
the
one.
one.
That
That's the one.
is the version that I always hear, because every
That's what
time he
happens
goes,
after. That's what happens after. Come on now. You know. That's what happens after. So I've been, but in living in Houston, it really taught me to really scratch my ear. Of course, I've always been a choir head and always will be, and I make no apologies for that.
You better not either, because I'm a choir head with you, sir. Growing up in Chicago, Ricky Dillard on one side, Mark Hubbard on the other side, Adrian B. King over there.
No. South side against the west side.
Oh, South side all day.
South side. Okay, come on. You know what time it is.
South side is the safe side. That's what we used to say.
That's right. That's right. So back in the day, it was just a heavy influence. Coming up in Indianapolis, I just had a very strong foundation in choir. Chicago versus Detroit kind of. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Your choir heads, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Them songs that we thought was only our songs.
That's right. That's right.
In Indianapolis and Chicago, boy, we used to sing some stuff. But I'm sorry, you said choir, boy.
Don't get me down that. Listen, don't get me down that street. I promise you. But I will say this: Houston was a part of growth, because I've learned and really began to connect with a lot of artists in Houston, and everything in Houston can sing, brother.
Yes.
I mean, you go to the drugstore, to the liquor store, and them winos is singing you down. So I began to work with people like Nikki Ross, did some work with Kim Burrell and Zaccardi, and many other great gospel music singers in the Houston region. And also I had signed with Matthew Knowles, the Matthew Knowles label.
You're in Houston, you might as well.
Yeah. So we put out a record. It was a comp record we put out in Houston. Had formed the community choir in Houston, Sounds of Levi. Shout out to Sounds of Levi. And so we did a song together with Brian Courtney Wilson, and did a song called Perfect Peace with Nikki Ross. So I mean, it just kind of scratched me in that whole Houston vibe. And so so the Lord has been kind to
Burrell in Houston as well. Just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry, my best friend is in Houston, so I always she's a singer. She's a singing singer.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's something in the water. It's something in the water. You go to Chicago, you go to Detroit, Indianapolis, there's something in the water for community choirs. Well, in Houston, there's something in the water for lead singers. Okay, keep going. Go ahead.
Ooh, you said something there. Nikki Ross. That's how Ricky called her name. So you were up there with Demetrius West and them.
Yes, I wrote for Demetrius the song when he first came out. I think it was on his first record called Total Praise. I was the writer for that, and I mean, bro, they scream that joint, bro. They just begin to scream. But like I said, God has definitely scratched me as far as writing. Go ahead, you was gonna say something?
No, just sorry. All of my help hit my spirit every time you talk. All of my help hits me. That song, we sing that. So, and I'm sorry, because I'm gonna keep throwing you off, and I'm gonna make you keep telling the story because I want to hear the ending of this. But I remember when all of my bills are paid, every week way is made. All of my help used to knock me down.
Yeah.
So yeah, Indianapolis. That's part of that.
Yeah.
Song.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. So, make a long story short, I received the offer to take a position at a wonderful church here in Baltimore. And let me tell you, from the Midwest to the South, there is no place like the East Coast, bro. I'm sorry, hands down. That just the environment on the East Coast is incredible. So again, I serve at a wonderful church here, Carter Memorial Church, man. And when I tell you, it's good church every Sunday, like we used to have it. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Like
we'll go there.
Back when church was church, I get what you're saying.
What?
So
Sunday nights.
Man,
we used to drive up to Campbell Church, Progressive. Come on, bro. I know what time it is. Come on, let's go.
So y'all doing midnight musicals over in Baltimore now?
Bruh, they still do midnight. They have midnight musicals. We're preparing something now for Resurrection Sunday where the whole city is coming together.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, it's gonna be incredible, and we do a whole bunch of throwbacks, bruh. We love throwbacks here on the East Coast, and it's just nothing but church,
Are y'all
just
doing
church.
so in Chicago? I remember when I had a bias against LA stuff. So like LA Mass Choir, if it wasn't That's When You Bless Me, then I wasn't hearing you. So
That's right.
do you all
That's
have
right.
East Coast bias in Baltimore? Is it all James Hall over Ricky Dillard?
You know what? Let me tell you something. It's quality, bruh. It is like there's a different choir sound here on the East Coast versus the Chicago, Detroit sound. It's different. It's a uniqueness. I will say that the DMV, it has a bite to it. It got a little different bite to it. So it's different, but what I will say, bro, our praise breaks, our praise moments are untouchable. Y'all trying to do what we do over here.
Are you trying to? Okay. Are you?
All right, I'm not trying to start no fight. I promise you, I'm not trying to start no fight.
Fight started. So are you trying to say?
No, I'm not. Let's move on. Move on. Next question. Next question.
That's my favorite saying on the Javon show. Moving on. We're just
moving on.
I stole that from Elder Stephen Anderson. He told me I never give him credit for that, but I'm going to let him give him his credit now. He said moving on, and I've been saying it ever since. So moving on. Oh God. So tell me about the Ron Summers upcoming projects, though, because I can just imagine what your pen must be like, having been from Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis to Houston, now to the DMV. I'm seeing that there must be just some bangers, if I can say that on a gospel, at a Christian program that's about to hit my ears.
Listen, man, God has been kind to us, man. We put out our first single not too long ago, and we actually hit on billboards for like 6 weeks, 6 consecutive weeks.
Congratulations,
man! To God be the glory. So I pulled this song called "It Is So." We pulled Tasha Page Lockhart on it, and I love me some Tasha. She can't help but to sing because you know who her mama is. I mean, come on now.
Right.
If you're the daughter of Lisa Page, come on, Lisa Page Brooks, because we were, again, that's that Midwest Detroit thing, but okay, you understand. So anyway, was just really doing our thing during COVID, went back to school, but God tapped me on my shoulder and said, listen, the promises that I have for you, I did not forget, nor did I change my mind. So that's where the birth of this record came out of. It came from a place of not really knowing or just being sure what the next move is. And God was just saying, listen, I've already made the way. You just got to walk it out. So we have Tasha Page on this record. We have the wonderful Kim Burrell, the voice. She is doing her good singing on this song called God Can. God can do anything but fail. We did this song back in Houston together during the AIM convention of 2011. And Vaughn, it's just been so many testimonies over just this one song, how people were being healed from cancer as they would hear this song. So watch this, bruh. I've just learned, Javon, that as a writer, you don't want to just write songs that make people feel good, but you want to write stuff and you want people to connect with your material that leads them to the presence of God. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do. I wasn't that guy that was always trying to put something out, or just because this person was doing it or this artist was doing it. But my love has always been to write songs that will transport people into the presence of God. So that's why I do what I do, not because I want to be the next great big thing, but my desire is just to do ministry. So that's why we do what we do.
Can I be the voice? You know how on, I forget the name of the shows with Key and Peele, it was Key and Peele. That was with Key and Peele, it was Key and Peele. And they had the Obama
and it was like the
Mhm.
Obama translator. Can I be the
Yeah.
Ron Summers translator? The Ron Summers translator said something to the effect of, I know that I'm great and I could put out something, anything, anytime I want to, and it'd be amazing, and y'all can't touch me. Now, whether that's the way you truly feel, that's how I feel about you. And so I hear you being humble, and I appreciate that, bro. I mean, you're supposed to be on a test in
Thank you,
public,
man.
but isn't there just a moment when you by yourself and you get done writing a song and you just do a drop the pen moment where you be like, ah, God, we done did it again?
You know, I'm gonna just be honest with you, man. It has been a few wow moments um, in situations like even with Kevin Lemons, and just being able to write on two of his projects that he would entrust, you know, an artist like Kevin Lemons that would entrust, you know, a little old boy from Indianapolis, from Detroit, to write something. So you have those wow moments sometimes when God will just, you know, be like, yo, you know, wow, God, you really gave me that. But it's always good. Let me say this, Javon, it's always good to keep it in the right perspective. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that's where I am with that. Is just really keeping things in the right perspective. One thing we've always learned, watch this, living in the Midwest, as good as you are, or bad as a choir as you may have, there's
Mhm.
always somebody down the street that can do it better. So we just want to be faithful to what God has given us to do. But just to make a long story short, back on this record, bruh, it just released last month, and God is just blowing my mind. It's available. Watch this. It's available in every digital
Mhm.
platform.
Mm.
Come on, Jesus.
All of them. And we don't want people just to stream it, because anybody can
Right.
stream it, but it takes a
Anybody can stream.
real walk of faith to go ahead
Yes.
and buy that thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just hit the button so us artists can buy a chicken box or something. You know, we want to do something. Maybe, you
And
know, get a little chicken box and put a little
yeah,
gas in the car, put a little gas in the truck. You know what
so
I'm
that they
saying?
can get to the chicken places and not have it Uber eat it. Uber
They,
eat
come
to
on now.
you wrote the Oil of the Lord. That was the first project you wrote on, or was that was
Mhm.
the first project? What was the second project?
Well, the first project we put out, of course, was Ron Simmons and New Revs. Wrote for the St. Louis experience of the Churches of God in Christ. I think it was their first album. Also, of course, Demetrius out of Indianapolis wrote for Brother Kenny Lewis, and just you know, just the Lord has just been faithful. Javon, the Lord has been faithful for us just to have the opportunity, and for watch this, for artists to trust you to do a record. Our next venture. Of course, Brother Eddie, I think it's Eddie Baltriff out of San Diego. We
Hey.
have some stuff that's going on his record, and so we got some other things in the bag. I'm not gonna release it now, but you will be hearing about it. Come on, church.
Have you
Come on,
ever
church.
have you given a song or sold a song or let another artist use a song before where you were like, man, I wish I can get that song back?
I can't really say that. I mean, here's the thing. As a writer, I understand that everything is not always for you to sing, or everything is not always for you as the artist. You know, the thing is, you know, I just love to write, bro. You know,
Mm.
watch this. My inspiration comes from really being in the presence of the Lord. And those you old school saints, you know what I mean when they say get you a sheet and you get on the floor. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You know where I'm going with that.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's where my inspiration comes from.
Mm.
Is just really being in the presence of God, and then God begins to download different sounds and the message that He wants to get across. So that has always been my inspiration. That has always been my inspiration as a writer.
You're very, very, very humble, and I'm going to continue to brag on you for as long as you
Thanks,
deciding
brother.
to write and put out music. I'm going to brag
Yes,
on
sir.
you.
Thank
Um,
you, man. Thank
um,
you.
I,
Thank
I,
you.
I told our mutual friend that I was a fan. Um,
Wow.
I fanboy.
Wow.
I fanboy. I love choir music, and I love songs.
Yes.
I love music. So
Yes, sir.
I told our mutual friend, I said, I'm a fanboy. And I would love to get him on and just to
Yes,
I
sir.
said, talk. And he said, he's funny. And I said, then he'll work in well on this thing that we do over here.
Come on now, let's ride. Yes, sir.
And I guess the next phase in this is just to get you somehow to get back to Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit. Bring you out
Come
of
on, let's go. Come on. So I plan to be in Indianapolis for the AIM convention that's going to be this summer.
Nice.
But yeah, man, we're moving. We're actually getting ready to work on a tour with some
Nice.
other artists. So I'll be contacting you about that. But man, we are just excited to get. Let me just say this. I got one song we did for the Choir Fest for Bishop Hezekiah Walker last year in Baltimore. We did a song called "To Come," and bruh, it's East Coast Church. East Coast Church. That's all I'm gonna say. Download it today. Go pick up your phone, download it today. That's all I'm gonna say.
Pick up your phone. Pick up your phone.
Pick up your
cross and then pick up your phone.
Pick up your phone.
Pick up your iPad and get it today. Before I let you go, and I know that time is far spent, I only paid for 30 minutes.
Sell some more chicken dinners, bro.
We do this one thing and we got to do it. It's called the creative. So this is the part of the show where we have you do a song that people wouldn't know that you know. Now, we all know that you know East Coast gospel. We know that you know Midwest gospel. We know that you know South gospel. Does Brother Ron know West gospel? I talked a little bit earlier about That's When He Blessed Me. LA Mass Choir, maybe the only song I know from the West Coast. I know some Judith McAllister stuff, but I don't really know West gospel like that. So we want to know what Ron knows. So this is an opportunity for you to share with us something that we wouldn't know that Ron Summers knows. We want it to be West Side based, so it could be West Side gospel, West Side R&B, West Side rap. But we want it from the West Side because you know all the other sides. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to figure out what song you want to do. And while you're contemplating on your song, I'm going to go ahead and do something metacrationally while you're preparing your West Side selection A and B for the
Lord Jesus,
board
Lord
special
Jesus.
service.
Lord Jesus.
Help him, Holy Ghost.
Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready.
I only know the one song. My life was torn beyond repair.
We actually singing that. Look, we actually singing
y'all
that.
not.
For that combined concert we're doing Sunday afternoon.
Are you serious?
I promise you, we're doing That's When You Bless Me.
Who's doing the Against All Odds?
It's a girl from Philly. It's a girl from Philly.
Between me and you, Ron, ain't nobody else looking at us. Can she sing?
Bruh, yes. Philly got some singers. Baltimore has some. East Coast has some singers.
Huh.
Now we got some singers now.
Does she have the oil of the Lord on her?
Listen, she got some grease, as they say. She got a little grease on her. Got a little grease.
Then I believe that it is so. So, see what I did? 2 songs of yours, back-to-back sentences, because I'm a professional. So, what song will Ron Summers be sharing with us today to represent, to show people that he knows something that is West Side-ish?
West Side-ish. Y'all remember Grateful, Lord, I'm grateful for all the things you've done for me. Oh, grateful. That's it. I'm done. I'm
When
done.
the man can create his
I'm done.
own swell,
I'm
then
done.
you know that it is well with my soul. And so I just simply say yes. Simply yes. Simply yes
Tira
to
maso.
this. I'm just saying simply
Ereba.
yes. This has
Ira
been
namase.
this has been so fantastic. Ron, I
Thank you,
appreciate you.
man. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much. Thanks
And
to my guys who connected us together. You already know.
you
You know
already
who
know.
he is. That's my
Everybody knows
family,
him.
Marquise.
He
That's
get on
my
my
family.
nerves. Everybody know who he
I
is
know. I wonder,
so
do he
well.
go to church?
You know, I think he's in something like a church every day or something to that average.
Or he just okay.
This is about his average.
Yeah, what church you go to, Marquise?
The Church of Marquise, Missionary Baptist, even though he's coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to everything that you've got going on, sir.
Thank
I
you,
look
man.
forward to
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you
And when
so
you do
much.
this tour and you need somebody to host,
Yes,
I
sir.
ain't doing nothing. I
Yes,
ain't doing
sir.
nothing at all.
I got
Just
you.
be like, hey, Javon, come through. We only
Let's do it.
you have to do it for chicken dinners, and I'm gonna be like, yes, I will do anything
Let's do it.
for a bucket of
Let's
chicken.
do it.
So
Come on, bro.
oh, good. Before you go, where can they find you if they want to reach out and touch you? How can they get a hold of you?
Follow me on the gram, on Instagram, Summers 2323, or go to my official Facebook page, Ron Summers. Bro, I done messed around and got a website. The Ron Summers website. Just look me up. But by all means, go and download the music. Download other gospel music artists as well. We need your support. And Brother Javon, I will talk to you soon. God bless you, bro. Love you, man.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ron Summers. He writes songs and he writes them well. So please,
God bless you.
Right now, go out and follow him and then go get his music. He is freaking amazing. He's worth every dollar. Do not just stream his music. Go out and buy it. That is my command to you. And it is so. On behalf of Dr. Anisha Thompson, Dr. T.L. Holmes, Elevate Magazine, and everybody connected with this show, thank you all. Thank you all for joining us. Take care. God bless you.
Get a little bit crazy.